I'm Dr. Leslyn McBean Claiborne, and I am currently the director at GAC, the Greater Ithaca Activities Center.
Hi there, my name is George McGonigal. I'm on Common Council. I represent the First Ward.
Hi, I'm Phoebe Brown. I'm the alderperson for Ward 2, and I also work for Alliance of Families for Justice.
My name is Sergeant Mary Orseo. I'm the Community Outreach Sergeant from the Ithaca Police Department.
My name is Amos Malone. I am a local human rights commissioner, also the pastor of Second Chance Ministries here in Ithaca.
Hi, my name is Travis Brooks. I am one of the deputy directors here at the Greater Ithaca Activities Center. I've been here for almost 25 years in 2 weeks. Along with being here at GAC, I am in my second year of serving as a county legislator in Tompkins County, District 1.
Yeah, my name is Tom Conzella. I'm a sergeant at the Ithaca Police Department, and I'm also the president of the Ithaca PBA.
My name's Chuck Dong. I'm born and raised right here in downtown Ithaca, right around the corner on Albany Street, and I am currently the owner of Shortstop Deli.
My name is Ted Schwartz, and I'm a lieutenant with the Ithaca Police Department. I currently work in the Investigations Division.
My name is Cynthia Brock. I'm on Common Council representing the First Ward.
Oh boy, what if nothing changes? It will be an absolute disaster, worse than we have now. Community police relationship is in crises.
If nothing changes, there will always be this seeming divide of us versus them. And that's horrible, in my opinion, because it's not us versus them. We're all part of this community, law enforcement, the people. I think overall people want good public safety. They understand the dangers of policing, but we also need to heal and communicate to work together to keep our communities safe.
I think there's been so much effort put into reimagining by the marginalized and black and brown communities that if we don't see real progress, it's going to end up being like 3 steps back.
If nothing changes, we will end up with the same thing that we have been getting, which is absolutely disastrous. And as I've said in the past, there always seems to be money for disaster, but nothing for prevention, and we have to do something. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive, and if we can be proactive, we can help, and I think we can get farther ahead of this thing that we've been having an issue with.
If nothing changes, it's possible we're not going to make progress, and we need to make progress together. I think if nothing changes, we're not going to be able to accomplish what the community is asking of us. There's a lot of requests for better services from IPD, more personable services, community policing, co-responses, and without the proper support and staffing, we simply can't provide those services.
We're hearing from our community that they feel unheard and they feel oppressed. And what we're hearing from our law enforcement is that they feel under-resourced and overworked. This is creating a division between our public servants and our community, so therefore service is not where it should be at, and we're not effectively able to hear and serve our community. So we don't have an option. We need to take steps forward to make those meaningful changes for both our community and law enforcement alike.
We have an opportunity to build relationships and connection. I think if anything, we've learned through COVID that we need each other and we need to support each other for our own well-being and for the well-being of our community.
Well, one thing we know about history, it's doomed to repeat itself. So if nothing changes, then nothing changes. We continue to get what we already have, right? And so it's not only important for community, it's also important for police officers, right?
If we don't make a change, the issues of trust between community and police, it goes both ways, it's going to be even more eroded. the killing and murder of unarmed black folks by law enforcement will continue. Racism, which a lot of this is connected to, and that too is in crises, it's going to get worse.
It would be cool, my son is 20, my daughter's 27. It would be cool if their kids grew up in a community where they understood policing how we feel it should be, and if they never had these feelings that made them look at police as a negative entity in a community, that it was positive, almost like how we traditionally look at firefighters. Like, they come, they do this job, they're heroes, it's heroic, they save the day, and we cheer them on. Police should be like that.
How can community healing change the status quo? For one, some of the things I just talked about, being able to develop that trusting relationship. Okay? There are very few communities I know that would say, oh, we don't want police. Our police officers, many of them are members of our community as well. And so we want to have that trusting relationship.
I think community healing means something different to each person. For me, community healing comes from a place of empathy and a place of compassion. So empathy meaning being able to hear each other and to be able to have that connection and to face it with compassion is important.
Law enforcement needs to really listen and be empathetic to marginalized people who have experienced trauma and have had bad experiences with law enforcement. And people in the community need to listen and be empathetic to the challenges and traumas that are involved in being a police officer.
Community healing would change the status quo because people need a chance to heal because of the trauma that has been induced by law enforcement in the past into the communities of the black and brown communities. And if we can continue with the community healing, that would push us so far ahead because you have to learn to heal before you can make any other adjustments.
You know, I tend to look at trauma as generational, and you know, we have an opportunity to heal previous generations. And I think if we could get to a place where folks from our generation, slightly younger, older, can get to a place with law enforcement where we understand what's happened, and we've accepted it, we've dealt with the feelings and the emotions that make it difficult to have positive relationships, or believe that things can change, and we hold on to this baggage, it makes it almost impossible for change. I think if we could get to a place of healing, we get to that opportunity, future generations can grow up in a very different environment and have very different relationships.
When we go to a crime where something has happened, we need the public's help in bringing someone before the court to hold them accountable. Oftentimes that includes getting witnesses to cooperate, victims to cooperate, to be available for court. And if there's that not communication and relationship, then that's very difficult.
Community healing is something that is necessary to not just change, everyday interactions and relationships, but to really build trust between the law enforcement profession and our community.
I've been someone who've interacted with police. I've been on both sides. I remember going to the police department when my brother got killed in our community, and they made us sit for over 12 hours. This was in the 70s, early 70s, and they made us sit. I've also been on the side to try to bring us together to heal. I was a part of the Meet the Chief monthly. A group of us came together for that, right? And some really good stuff happening, but it was surface stuff.
the change would be trust, working together, a better sense of community. You know, I was born and raised here, and I remember when I was younger, like in the schools in GIAC, officers would be there. We would know them. They would participate in our activities. I would say law enforcement's involved in that way. They get to know these families. They grow up and they know, as some of these kids with troubled backgrounds, as they get older, they'll be like, no, I know him. He's not a bad kid. Here, come here, I'm gonna take you home, rather than arrest or ticket or suspicion.
By getting law enforcement and our community in a room to talk about whether it be the traumas a community members has experienced from the IPD or another police force or a police officer sharing their traumas that they've faced on the job, it's going to create a collective understanding between our public servants and our community. I think that's going to transform into better police transparency, better police accountability, and better police legitimacy.
I think we, as police officers, want, in many ways, the same thing that the community wants. We want to feel trusted. We want to feel like we have a mutual respect, just as people with the same folks that we're serving. And you know, without that, we're really not going to be able to move forward.
What it represents for me is something I just alluded to, and I'll say just a little bit more. Community members, regular citizens, and law enforcement working together, trusting each other to be able to build the kind of safe, just community that we're looking for. Community healing represents to me accepting the things that, and understanding the things that have come before that were harsh, that were bigoted, that were racist, that were systemic, and being able to dismantle those little bit, piece by piece, so that we have a system that we build together.
So how can community healing change the status quo? By coming together beyond town halls, beyond public forums, but by coming together to address and to discuss community healing, it creates the condition for the community to level set. One, you know, Dr. Cornel West talks about how the conditions for truth are to allow suffering to speak. So the same thing goes for healing. The condition for healing is to allow suffering to speak. And we all know that community is suffering. We all know that law enforcement is suffering. And in large part, the tensions between the communities is a byproduct from sometimes an inability to talk about the trauma and an inability to talk about the potential healing that can happen. So how can healing change the status quo? It'll dramatically create the container and the conditions for possibly engaging in restoration. It won't be perfect. The change might not be long lasting, but to do it continuously and in a committed manner, it can not just change the status quo, but serve as a model for the nation.